on some major crops that we have in our region. So we have Monilia on peach, as we have seen also in many other presentations. We have apples that can show botrytis or penicillium rots, especially at the end of the storage. And then we have quite high production of kiwi fruit. So this is also quite important for us, and the major problem is botrytis cinerea in this case. And the other that we can see here, some uses occur and some others not, is Cadophora luteolivacea. The old name was Calopora. This is also a late pathogen during the storage. Okay, what are the best practices that we can try to use? We have seen already during the first presentation from Bologna and APO-FRUIT that mainly disease prevention is really a key factor that should be used. Then also monitoring of the disease can help because we can decide, we can understand when is the right moment for selling the product or to increase the shelf life, and finally disease control. About prevention, I will be very quickly, just I think we have seen already most of them. The choice of the cultivar is essential. We should have a balanced fertilization in the field and adequate irrigation. The pruning system is also very important, and the removal of mummies in the case of Monilia can be a very strong factor affecting the inoculum in the next season in the orchard. Finally, the harvest time, so we have to choose the appropriate time for harvesting. I show you just here an example of study that was carried out on kiwi fruit against to try to see on Cadophora luteolivacea, and we found a quite strong correlation on the development of skin lifting, just looking at the nitrogen content. So it means really the fertilization can have a strong effect during the post-harvest development of diseases. And these are some other results. It's a different crop in this case because it's blueberries, but we can see two kinds of results. So one is the effect of the harvest. There are two harvests normally on blueberries, and during the second harvest the rots, the diseases were very high. And the second is about calcium treatment. Sometimes calcium treatments applied into the soil can help to reduce the rots, both on the first harvest and the second harvest. So they can be a factor affecting the rots development. Harvest time we have already said. Then also this has already been explained. The best hygienic practices should be used as much as possible. So we should have the clean boxes, clean bins. The bins should not be wooden but plastic bins. The storage chambers should be disinfected at the beginning of the season, and they should be washed. So it's a lot of hygienic practices. As much as possible, we say to the growers that they should eliminate the waste water. Also, they should not recycle. They should change in the evening water when they can. They try to do this. And also, we have seen adequate clothing. Clothing should be wear by the operating people. About the best storage practices, also we have seen quite a lot. So low temperature is a key factor. Then curing. Curing is very important for our kiwi fruit production because when kiwi fruit are harvested, normally there is a wound, and this is the main access for botrytis cinerea. So the best that was experienced during the year is just to leave the fruits for a few hours. The best could be 24 or 48 hours, but this is not feasible normally. But this time at a temperature of around 15 degrees can help to heal the wound. So it helps to reduce very much the botrytis rocks afterwards. And yes, controlled atmosphere is a practice that we use in alcohol storage, in kiwi fruit storage, and in beer storage. In particular, on kiwi fruit, a very strong relationship was found by doing a survey in different packing houses on the cool down time. So when you try to reduce the oxygen level and you try to reduce the temperature, if you do these steps very quickly, then the fruit will have some kind of stress and will develop easily some post-harvest disease. Otherwise, if you leave more days, maybe you leave up to 15 days, then the development of rots will be much lower. So this can be also a very important factor to be controlled. Okay, this is just there is one slide left. It was about disease monitoring, but in this case, I think it's important to develop some methodologies to find the right pathogens to identify it, and molecular tools sometimes can help in the identification. Oral systems, like for example this diameter, which was developed a few years ago. Okay, in the post-harvest, what are the strategies that we use? In this case, our group is quite focused on trying alternative strategies, so alternative to chemical control. And we have some experience on thermotherapy, hot water treatment mainly, the development of biocontrol agents for treating the fruits, and also we try to search for natural compounds that have some antimicrobial activity, or they can induce resistance into the fruit host. So about thermotherapy, I think we have seen quite a lot about this presentation. So just I say that there are some advantages of the wound cicatrization. You can keep, if you choose the right temperature and time, the organoleptic characteristics. It's quite easy to use. There are also some packing house companies which are interested in this technique because they can sometimes reuse the heat which is released during the storage of the fruit, and there are no residues and toxicity, and they can be integrated with other strategies. This was a selection of the best time and temperature, and more or less we could find that in this case we were working on plants against the Monilidia and Axa, and the best results were at 48 to 52 degrees for 3 minutes, because this experiment. Because later you can reduce the rots, but you increase a lot the phytotoxicity. So fruits are damaged, they cannot be stored, so it's really not feasible with a higher temperature. And this is just coming from the experience of Marta Mari with some semi-commercial machine to try to test it in peaches. Okay, about biocontrol agents, mainly there are yeast, but also bacteria which have been developed or are under development in different laboratories or in different research centers. The development of a biocontrol agent is normally quite a long process, because there is the isolation at the beginning, then the selection of the best biocontrol agents. You check for the efficacy, you test the efficacy on different fruits, on different seasons, you find different conditions, room temperature, storage conditions, etc. Then it's a key factor to study how these biocontrol agents work, because this is quite important for the formulation process. It can be important for later studies and for the registration of the biocontrol agent. And it's also important to track the microorganism into the environment, maybe with some molecular marker. So normally our study at academic level or university stop at the patent, and then there is the part that the private companies should do. As we have experienced from many years, this part is quite hard to be done by the companies. So sometimes the university continues the research with the production, optimization of the fermentation, stabilization, and formulation activities. And then the toxicological studies are a very big part of the cost to get finally the registration. Here we have just a very brief scheme that shows different mechanisms of action used by biocontrol agents. So we can have a competition for nutrients, space competition. Sometimes biofilm formation can be a very important factor. Volatile organic compounds and also diffusible antimicrobials. The release of hydrolysis, this can help to parasite the pathogen. And now there is also a growing role of these reactive oxygen species at the fruit level, at the pathogen level, and also at the antagonist level. Also, the antagonists sometimes can directly interact with the fruit by inducing some resistance. Here I show just the biocontrol agents that during 15 years, more or less, have been studied, tested, trying to develop in our group. So all of them are yeast or yeast-like fungi. There are some Mechnicobia, Pichia, Widermontis, Pseudocima, and one strain of Aureopathecina. I will skip the slide. Okay, this is just to show how it's going to market. So I would say that up to a few years ago it was really like a closed market. But nowadays we can see some better products on the market, because the first generation of these products are nowadays not anymore on the market. So for example, Aspire was a Candida oleophila commercialized in the United States. It's not anymore on the market. But there are some new products. In Spain, two products have been developed, Candifruit and Pantovital are both of them, but they are amendments, so they have not been registered as biofungicides. Then there is one strain of Aureobasidium pullulans, which is commercialized throughout Europe, so it is in Annex 1 of biofungicides, and it can be used as a pre-harvest treatment. Then Biosave is commercialized in the United States. There is a Cryptococcus albidus in South Africa, a strain of Mechnicobia fructicola, which has had a lot of history because it was developed in Israel, then it was bought by Bayer in Germany, and now it has been bought by Koppert in the Netherlands. So different companies are interested in it. And finally, the last one from the 1st of January of this year is the Candida oleophila, and it's throughout the European Union. Also, this one is in Annex 1 and used in post-harvest. Okay, I will be quick. For the natural products, silicates are under development, so they can, for example, strengthen the cell wall, make the fruits more resistant. Chitosan has been studied for a long time, but it's not very successful on the market, but it has both antimicrobial activity, it can protect the fruit, and it can also induce resistance on the fruit. Then there is this test of glucosinolates. This is also work done by Bologna a few years ago, where some brassica products can be applied because they can develop isothiocyanate, which are volatiles and toxic to the microorganisms. And in our case, we work on essential oils. Essential oils, especially coming from Labiate family. In particular, thyme essential oil is quite interesting, and active ingredient is thymol, which has antimicrobial activity, and the other is savory, where carbatrol has antimicrobial activity. Here is some tests done with basil, fennel, lavender, oregano, menta, rosemary, etc. But the best results were with thyme and with savory. Also, in this case, we should not exceed with concentration, because otherwise we have phytotoxicity. And also with essential oils, we have to say that there is the problem of organoleptic flavor. So what we try to do now is to test them not with a direct contact with the fruit, but they are just put into the storage environment, so they can have antimicrobial activity, but there is not a direct contact on the fruit. So this with the fumigation experiments. They can also be used in pre-harvest. This is another possibility, trying to eliminate the residues or the off flavors. And we did some tests with ONA Fruit, which is the Italian organization for tasting of fruits, and it was very good results with no influence on the quality. Okay, so we have seen hot water, biocontrol agents, and essential oils, and what we have been doing during the last year is trying to put together these different mechanisms. So here are just some examples with good results, because we could obtain synergistic effects between the different treatments. In this case is hot water dipping and biocontrol agents against Monilinia on peaches. Another is essential oils and biocontrol agents, but we could see that essential oils should be applied before the biocontrol agents, because if they are together, they will kill also the antagonist. This is hot water, also in this case hot water before the essential oils, and here we could see really very good results on severity and also on the incidence of the disease. Okay, so this is the conclusion, that we have a lot of practices that we can choose. We should be careful about the efficacy of the different treatments. We should choose the right time for the application, to consider the crops and the pathogens. The cost is also a very important factor, so we should calculate how much it will cost to the packing house for the treatments. If there are not toxicological issues for the human health, and phytotoxicity for the crops, especially for essential oils or thermotherapy. And it's very important to work together with companies, because they should later develop the product and bring it to the market. So industrial partners can be hot water producing machine. So for example, one of the partners of these Life+SU.SA.FRUIT projects, or producers of essential oils or biocontrol agents. So this is a bit of our network in our region. So we work a lot with technical assistance organization, which is Credor, and it is also partially involved in the project because we will work in close contact with them. And these are the companies that are dealing with fruit or vegetables for storage. So we have different projects together with these companies. So I thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful conclusion. I think Davide do all the job.